So I spent, I want to say, the last 2 months or so prior to what you're seeing and viewing now, building an app that I thought could solve a problem that I don't think needs or can be solved in the way I ended up trying. I mentioned this very briefly in like a recent newsletter I sent out, as well as some past stuff, just hints to what I'm working on, another app. Before this app, I launched an app called Affinicast, which was a video tutorial site. Has since turned, I sold the domain. It has since turned into a porn site, so I don't recommend going there, but that's a funny, trivial tidbit there, which is ridiculous. But hey, so I ended up on a hunt for, at that time, I was in a different role at a different company. And then I got kind of in a state of stress and constant getting, growing, kind of not liking my job kind of thing going on. It's hard to describe what it was about, but I ended up building another product because I started working in Basecamp with the new company I'm with right now. The way we communicate is like hands down what I've been after for my entire career. As I don't know if I've said this before, but I'm a very introverted person, so I find communicating through writing is one of my favorite ways to communicate. Of course, I will communicate in person or get on a call or whatever, but I just find productivity happens more if I'm not stuck in meetings or stuck in video chats where there's really no agenda, or you're in just like a daily stand-up for software development. You just get into these patterns of meetings, and it's meeting after meeting, which take all of your energy and distract you, and you end up working maybe 2 hours that day or something meaningful. So my thought was, what can that be fixed? Is there something to do there that would solve that problem? And I went down this path of, well, what if it's mostly written communication, in Basecamp in particular, that's very a message and comment fashion, which is something that's not new. It works really well, but it's something that I thought could be extracted, maybe a unbundling from Basecamp. And that's what I've described this tool that I called Compose. Now the site's live. You could go actually buy it, but I ended up just kind of deciding I'm not really going to be pursuing this route. I built a lot of functionality into it. It's pretty fancy. It's all priced per seat. So that's something new I never really tried. But this app, I built it using a lot of the stuff I use on my channel. It's all Ruby on Rails, Tailwind CSS, some, nice to haves that I probably should have waited to add to the app, before launching it. And what's funny is I never really did launch it. So it just goes to show you when you kind of have an idea. And I validated it. I thought I validated it with some people, but I think in the end, I learned from Derek Reimer. He had a site or an app called Level, and it was just basically a communication tool that's you're competing with Slack. And in the end, that's kind of where this app headed. And to do that would take funding under the sun like crazy to do, because I'd need a mobile app, I'd need a native app, all this stuff. But this app was just kind of I learned a lot from it, but I also just spent a lot of time building it because I like building it. But it ended up being something that I don't think anyone really would lean on too hard in their day-to-day. So I'm just gonna kind of walk you through it just to show you what could have been. Basically, it's hard to, I can't even describe it, but think of it as you have multiple teams that you can be on, and each team can communicate within a board. Consider a board like a category, and then within that, you can create new messages. Each message can be created, and we use tricks, like this, to, type messages. You can mention other users, all this stuff. So I built this. It's seemingly cool, but I think in the end, if people are going to communicate, they either want to be fast and efficient with it, and that's usually through Slack or some form of chat, or they're going to go deeper and get an actual text editing document like Dropbox Paper or Google Docs and write it all up and then share it. So I was thinking, well, what if you could kind of have that hybrid approach where you have this app as a place where your team, communicates in a long form way, as opposed to just these knee-jerk reactions to, chat messages. So you can't, like with a chat message, there's always this stream of communication going, and it's distracting for one, but it's also just easy to miss something. So in this case, this is asynchronous to the 100th degree. So that was my goal with this, is to kind of create that whole concept. And I went balls to the wall with the features. Like there's notifications under like here, a lot of stuff that's all action cable. So if you were to comment on something, you'd see a notification pop up here. But yeah, in the end, it's this seemingly simple app. You can create a new board, give it a color, kind of like Trello, where I try to just kind of take parts of apps I like and create some, I would say, Frankenstein app out of it. And I believed the whole time that it was, it was really solving a problem. I started blogging about it and just doing what I could to get it out there. I talked to some folks on Reddit, and it just kind of didn't, in the end, did not feel right. So I just wanted to reflect on it. If you go to gocompose.io, that's the main app there if you want to check it out. I even made this little fancy video and wrote a few blog posts about mostly asynchronous communication and why the way we communicate today is broken. But I think in the end, I don't think anyone really likes being in a tool like Slack or enjoys that constant stream of notifications, but it works, and it's seemingly quick and it's efficient. You can do pretty much anything under the sun with it. You can create a longer form post if you want, or you can save it for later or link to it later. There's an archive and search for it. So I think Slack is solving that problem. And this wasn't really a means to go head to head with Slack. It was more or less like, I want to give you another option to communicate, maybe in a way that's more calm for you and your team. And I just wanted to kind of, I guess, offer that. And it didn't pan out. So I just wanted to share that. I never did really talk about it like I could have in terms of launching a new app, but I think what I was hesitant about was the fact that I wasn't sold myself on the idea deep down. So I think it could have been something. Maybe if it got molded in a certain way, maybe I'll fire it back up and go a different route with it. But the idea is is for small teams that can write and communicate asynchronously in a long form fashion that's less stressful and annoying, So that's where I was with it. Getting started, you create an account like you would. You pay, this certain fee based on how many users you have. I was pricing it, I think, at like, what is it, $7 a user? Yeah. For 2 users or less, you get free access up to a certain amount. There are some things I never really added to the app that could have been added, but this is like beyond where you should be with the MVP. In my opinion, I took it too far, which is a habit I have of just building stuff before you really validate it too well. So there it is. I just wanted to share that and get it out there. I invite you to check out the site. Also check out the blog. I'm not really pursuing this that much anymore. It's still live. Still, you could go purchase a plan and use it, but I'm kind of not supporting it as of right now, because my focus really is on the blog at this point. It allows me to create content for you guys, create more meaningful stuff to put out there in the community, especially the Rails and Ruby community. I want that community to kind of shine again. And then just kind of give back, but also maybe, expand my horizons as well. I've got that single Hello Rails course out. I'm considering doing more courses like that, maybe entry-level courses to other technologies or frameworks, all that stuff. So I'm considering that. It's a big effort to do those things. But I'm also considering like making it a network of courses, so maybe you can bundle them and take them all and kind of benefit that way. So we'll see what happens. The road ahead is kind of unpaved, but it's mostly like my plan is to spend more time on the blog where I can. I have 2 kids now, so trying to get a lot of that stuff done, time is just, it's really tough with lack of time. And yeah, compounding on that. So with that, with the website and the blog and the video tutorials and stuff like that, I'm going to keep those coming. And my plans really are to kind of do that, maybe create a new course here and there, and just keep going. So if you're tagging along, I really appreciate you coming this far with me. It's been quite a journey. I think my channel's, I don't know, 2.5 years old, 3 years old now. We're past 10,000 subscribers. It's great to see. I know Rails isn't the most buzzworthy framework out there right now, and it's cool to see that a lot of people still are interested in it, and that's primarily why people show up at my channel. But I'm hoping to expand maybe some different content as well in the JavaScript world. Also, I really love Tailwind, so maybe something there, more like builds or something. And maybe I've actually been reading a little bit about Elixir and the framework over there. That's what's it called? I forget now, but Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix and Elixir. So it's kind of like Ruby and Rails, but Phoenix, which uses Elixir, which is a functional programming language, which is neat. So I also think foundational Ruby is something I might pursue. So kind of teaching that, giving you the real understanding of Ruby at its core. So when you use Rails, like I did at the beginning before Ruby, you start to understand what methods mean and why they do the things they do, how Ruby classes are structured, and you can pass around arguments and stuff like that. So yeah, that's on the horizon. I wanted to just kind of share my failure with you because I'm human and we all fail. And I think that's where we can learn from things as we press forward and hopefully do better. So with that, I thank you again for watching if you've come this far, and I hope to see you in the future videos. All right. Peace, guys.